I had hiked this trail many times before. That's why I knew something was wrong. When the city skyline looked backwards. My fiancée, my best friend, and I had gone to a popular trail near our town. We knew the path well. We had walked it before, even at night. But that evening, everything changed. It was getting dark, so we turned around early. We stayed on the main trail, flashlights on, never stepped off the path. Then we reached the clearing, the one spot where the trees open and you can see the whole city below. Only now, the city looked flipped, like someone had mirrored the skyline. My fiancée suddenly said, "I feel backwards." My friend said she felt it too, so did I. We kept walking toward the exit, but the trail stopped making sense. Parts of the path looked broken, wrong, like it wasn't the same trail anymore. So we turned back. That's when we found a place we had never seen before. There was a door in the ground, like an entrance to an old mine. Next to it, 5 white chairs in a circle, white cloth scattered everywhere, beer bottles on the ground. No fire pit, no people, nothing else. We walked away from it, and somehow ended up right back there, again and again. We tried calling people for help. No one answered. We thought we might have to sleep in the woods. Then suddenly, after one normal turn on the trail, the exit was right there. We were out, just like that. The second we left, our phones started getting messages back. But the strangest part came later. My fiancée's phone had taken 1,000 white photos, all time-stamped while we were lost. A year later, we went back. We never found the path, the chairs, or the door. Only the woods. We were only supposed to be gone for 15 minutes. But according to our watches, we were lost for hours. I was a teenager in Boy Scouts when it happened. 2 girls named Amy and Harriet were sent into the woods with me to find a long, straight stick for carving. Simple enough. We walked in one direction the whole time. We memorized landmarks, stayed careful, stayed together. After about 15 minutes, we still hadn't found anything useful, so we turned around. That's when the panic started. The path was gone. The trees looked like they had knitted themselves together. Branches blocked where we had just walked. Every direction looked the same. Even the trees looked identical, like copies of each other. We picked a direction and kept moving, calling for help, shouting into the woods.
Help me!
Eventually, we found a thin concrete road cutting straight through the forest. We had never seen it before. On the other side, there was an abandoned shack. We kept walking. Soon we reached a road we didn't recognize. That's where we saw a woman in a pink and purple jacket. We begged her to tell us where our campsite was. She pointed us in one direction and said there was another camp that way. We followed her directions and somehow made it back. We were shaking, certain we had been gone for at least an hour and a half. Our watches said the same. So did Harriet's phone. But when we apologized to our scout leader, he just looked confused. He said, "Where have you been?" We told him we got lost for hours. He said we had only been gone 25 minutes. To this day, none of us can explain what happened in those woods. I always hated the woods. The cold that settles in after dark, the damp air, the smell of moss and rot, the way every sound seems farther away than it should be. But my father loved them. When I was a kid, he planned hiking and camping trips almost every month. He kept maps pinned to a corkboard in his study. Red pins marked the trails. String showed the route we were supposed to follow. He treated every trip like an expedition. To me, every forest looked the same trees, the same muddy paths, the same silence. I never understood why he loved it so much. Then one trip changed everything. I was 14 when my family got lost in the woods for 4 days. My younger brother and I had been bored for most of the trip. At one point, I climbed a tree my father warned me to stay away from. I fell and blacked out for a few minutes. After that, my memories become hazy, like everything is covered in mud-colored fog, green and gray. I remember being cold. I remember the smell of wet dirt. I remember walking until my legs hurt, and I remember my parents arguing when we finally made it home. A hiker eventually found us on a moss-covered trail. He turned out to be an off-duty police officer named Dan. Even after he found us, it took another 7 hours just to reach the main road. My mother was furious. She made my father promise we would never go camping again. But the promise didn't last. As the years passed, my father started taking my brother on outdoor trips instead. Fishing, skiing, orienteering, anything that kept them outside. When I turned 16, I refused to go on any more trips. I never stepped back into those woods again. Years passed. I moved away for school, then eventually moved back to my hometown. I got a job working at the local theater. Quiet work, easy work, nothing unusual. Then one night, an older man came to see a show. Afterward, he waited near the box office and introduced himself. Officer Dan. The same man who found us in the woods. The second I heard his name, something hit me. The smell of wet moss, cold air in my lungs, panic. The feeling that I had forgotten something important. I smiled through the conversation, but the whole time my heart was racing, like there was something I should remember and couldn't. That night I messaged my brother. He replied almost immediately. He said he needed to come over. He said, we had a lot to talk about. Then he told me something I still think about. He said, he never liked the woods either. We were 3 dumb teenagers looking for something to scare ourselves. Instead, something in the woods scared us first. It was a warm summer night in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. My friends, Alex, Bobby, and I had just finished playing Outlast on Xbox. Still hyped up, we decided to walk through the woods near the park across from my house. There was an old abandoned building deep inside, and we wanted to explore it. Bobby almost backed out before we even entered the trail. The park was closed. We were all under 18. If the police caught us out there, we were screwed. But we went anyway. The woods felt completely different at night. During the day you hear birds, bugs, and wind moving through the trees. But that night, there was only silence. The kind of silence that makes your skin crawl. As we walked deeper in, we started hearing footsteps behind us. Every time we stopped, they stopped too. We told ourselves it was probably an animal. None of us really believed that. To reach the building, we had to cross a creek. It had rained hard that summer, so the water was high. We figured if anyone was following us, they'd have to cross after us. We would hear them. We crossed and heard nothing. Then we saw the building. Dark, rotting, covered in graffiti. Messages like, "Stay out, go away." We laughed it off, but none of us were comfortable anymore. The doors were boarded shut. So were the windows. Except one broken window just big enough to squeeze through. Bobby reached his hand inside, feeling for a latch. Then he screamed. Something grabbed his arm from inside the building and started pulling. Alex and I grabbed Bobby and yanked him back. He hit the ground hard. We were about to run when we heard movement all around us. Footsteps from every direction. Then shapes started stepping out of the darkness, one by one, at least 10 of them. We couldn't see their faces, only silhouettes surrounding us in the trees. None of us spoke. I looked at Bobby, and I had never seen that much fear on someone's face before. Then one of them finally said, We know you boys are not here to disrespect, but others came here to disrespect this place, and they never returned." Alex started shaking and said, "We don't mean any trouble, we swear." The voice answered, "We won't hurt you tonight, but if you ever come back, we will kill you." Then they stepped aside and opened a path for us to leave. We walked past them slowly. Every second felt like an hour. We could feel them watching us the entire way back. When we finally made it home, we tried to explain it away. Maybe it was a prank. Maybe some kind of cult. Maybe something worse. Whatever they were, we never went back.